So, a couple of things. My niece is down there, so if you hear little noises, you're not crazy. There really is a baby in the room. Yeah, talking about you. So, today, we're going to be talking about timelines. What kind of timeline am I talking about? With my books, I make a timeline of the events in the book, so I can keep track of how much time is passing, where people are, that sort of thing. So, I'm going to talk about that. I haven't really done any research on this. Hold on, she just grabbed my computer. This is... Here, play with your toys. Computer is out of her reach now. What was I saying? So I haven't actually done a lot of research and stuff about what other authors do for timelines, or if they even use timelines. I don't have a clue. I'm just going to tell you what I do and leave it at that. So what do I do? It varies between each book. I kind of make it up as I go along, but there's generally a structure that I follow, so I'll tell you what that is. This is the timeline for my Robin Hood series, and I just have lined paper in this notebook, and I have it by year. Like, this is 1192, this is 1193, one whole page is an entire year. Really? Do you think so? Anyway, and I have the months listed out, and I leave lines for each week. So if something happens on that week, I write it down, pencil it in, so I know where it is, what happens, that sort of thing. The reason I originally made a timeline for this story is because I wrote the first 2 novels in the series, and okay, that's not actually technically true. It was the first novel in the series and the 5th one, but I wrote them first and second, but that's beside the point. I digress. Anyway, so I made the timelines because I'd finished the first 2 novels, and my siblings were reading them. And my brother came to me, one of my elder brothers, came to me and said, "You have your protagonist turning 19 in one paragraph and turning 20 like 2 paragraphs later. Did an entire year really pass in those 2 paragraphs?" So I took a look at it, and no, an entire year had not passed. So I set out to make a timeline, and it was a bit of a hassle because I'd already written the novel, and it was just, ugh. But I got it. I got it all done. And then this has really been helpful as I've moved forward with the series with Always in Shadow and Dusty and other books that aren't yet completed. I've had this to look at and be like, this is where I'm at. Right now, Robin is moving to Sherwood, and I know what I'm doing and where in the story I am, and I don't know if you can even hear me over my shrieking niece. But yeah, so this timeline has been immensely helpful. I'm really glad I did it. But this also taught me timelines are necessary for me, and timelines should be done in the process of writing, not afterwards, because otherwise it's a hassle. This is my timeline for my Finding Hope series, which is Isolated and Courageous Heart. Still working on Courageous Heart. It'll be published sometime, I promise. So in this timeline, instead of having years laid out in every single week of the year, I only mark down the days that things happen. So the story starts, day 1 here, it's a Thursday. So I put the date, and then what happens. And then the next scene that happened in the story happened to be Monday. So I put Monday, put what happened. And as I've been going through the story, I've been adding to this. And it's growing. And also running out of page. Gonna have to turn to the next page. But anyway, that's beside the point. So this one's a little bit different, but it's still a timeline, and I still have everything going on. I'm not sure why I did it differently, but like I said, I kind of make it up as I go along. Timelines, for me, sort of take on the same sort of feeling as novels do. Not very many of my novels have the same sort of writing style or structure. It's just whatever feels right for that story. And I do timelines the same way. This feels like the right timeline to do for Finding Hope. It's not as intense as the Robin Hood. I don't know why. It's just what I feel like doing. I also have this, which is a novel that's not published, but it was the first one that I ever wrote. And I have a bit of both. It's about a girl who goes on a mission trip to Africa. So while she's in Africa, I have a day-by-day structure like I do with the Isolated and Courageous Heart. Just what day stuff happens. But give me a second. There's a lot of stuff for this book. When I get it written, it's going to be insane. Here we go. I also have a legitimate calendar that I made myself. And it's actually a calendar, unlike Robin Hood, which is just sort of a calendar with the years and then lines for weeks. This has every single day of the year. And when things happen, I pencil it in. So, I have a bit of both on this. Yeah, all my timelines are a little bit different for each story. They're all really helpful. Keep me straight. I know what's happened already, and I know what's happening at the moment. So if I have to go back and add scenes, I can just look at my timeline and be like, alright, this is what's happened up to this point. This is how developed my character is. They haven't learned these lessons yet. They haven't met this person yet. That sort of thing. I don't know. It's extremely helpful. And also, because I have timelines, I no longer have people just randomly aging a whole year in 2 paragraphs. So, timelines are fantastic. Timelines are my lifeline, especially in the Robin Hood series. I thought I would share. I don't really have a method because all my timelines are a little bit different, but do timelines. They're very, very helpful. And I guess just do whatever works for you. Just play around with it. I do all sorts of things, so feel free to do all sorts of things. That's all I have for today. Sorry if you couldn't hear me when my little niece was screaming, but that's okay. She's having fun down there. She's also staring at me because I'm talking about her. Or just because I'm talking in general. That's all I have for today. I hope that helps, gives you some ideas to use for your own writing or something. I don't know. Happy writing, everybody! Happy writing! Oh, Addison! I was going to do an outro and then you started screaming.